for coming this afternoon to this really fun and exciting day where we're going to perform the oath of offices for our 2 new county supervisors. If you don't know me, I'm Tricia Weber. I'm the Santa Cruz County Clerk, Registrar of Voters. And we're going to get the show started. So I'm going to invite up both Supervisor-elect Justin Cummings and our former 3rd District County Supervisor Gary Patton, who will be performing the oath of office.
Well, my name is Gary Patton, and as Justin knows, and probably many of you know, I was the 3rd District County Supervisor for 20 years. And that was the greatest honor of my life. And I'm just so happy for you, Justin, that you're going to be taking on this assignment on behalf of the people of the 3rd District and on behalf of Santa Cruz County. When I got out of office after 20 years, I actually kind of drew some conclusions of what did I learn. I learned 5 different things, and I'm not going to repeat them right now, but I'm going to send you my 5 simple rules to be a great supervisor, and I'm going to comment on 2 of them. And one of them is, don't forget you're in charge. You run the county bureaucracy, not vice versa. And the second rule is, remember, the people are in charge of you. That's how they make the local government work, by having you respond to them and carry out their hopes and aspirations, respond to the crises, and just carry on good government day by day, week by week. We've got a few supervisors in the audience, and they know what we're talking about up here. Justin, it is now the time for you to come on in a little bit closer. I think I'm COVID-free. Let me just tell everybody what's going on here. This is an official certificate of election and oath of office, and it starts out with Tricia Weber's statement that as the county clerk of Santa Cruz County, she hereby certifies that at a general election held in and for the county of Santa Cruz on November 8, 2022, Justin Cummings was elected to the office of County of Santa Cruz Board of Supervisor, 3rd District, for a 4-year term beginning January 2, 2023, as appears by the official record of the result of said election on file in the clerk's office. In order to take office officially, you need to affirm that you're going to do the right thing by the people who elected you. And I'm going to read what you're going to say after me, and when you do that, you're going to sign it and you'll be in. 4 years. Okay. Here, you're going to need to say this so people can hear you. I, Justin Cummings.
I, Justin Cummings.
Do solemnly affirm.
Do solemnly affirm.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of California.
And the Constitution of the State of California.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of California.
And the Constitution of the State of California.
That I take this obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
And that I will willfully and
well and
faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. There's just always a little hesitation at the doorway. You're about to enter. Sign here and you can get in.
you all for joining us today. I'd like to thank all my friends and family near and far who are also unable to join us today. I'd like to thank my parents, and in particular my mother, who inspired me to always strive to make a difference, uplift those who are less fortunate, and work towards building a more just and equitable world. I'd like to thank my campaign team, former 3rd District Supervisor Gary Patton, Denise Holbert, Kelsey Hill, Katie Spencer, Councilmember Sandy Brown, former Mayor Bruce Van Allen, Ross and Allison Albert, Sean Maxwell, and Celeste Gutierrez, my campaign manager, for the tireless work and dedication to our campaign. I'd also like to thank the many volunteers who helped carry our message to voters, and the many organizations and people who endorsed and donated to our campaign. But most importantly, I would like to thank the voters of Santa Cruz County, and from the 3rd District in particular, for electing me to serve a second term in office, and this time as 3rd District County Supervisor. I'm honored to stand on the shoulders of the many supervisors who've come before me in the 3rd District. Among them, former Supervisor Gary Patton, Marty Wormhout, Neil Coonerty, and Ryan Coonerty, to name some of the more recent 3rd District supervisors. I look forward to working with our county staff, my fellow board members, Supervisor Bruce McPherson, Zach Friend, Mano Koenig, and Felipe Hernandez. I'm also looking forward to working with my team of staff, Rachel Dan and Sandy Brown, and Andy Schifrin as part of the transition team. But most importantly, I look forward to working with you, the people of Santa Cruz County, because if we're all in this together, we must all work together.
Yeah.
During my time on Santa Cruz City Council, and especially as mayor of Santa Cruz in 2020, I worked hard to ensure that the voices of those who have been historically left out of the decision-making process were included at the table. I made it a point to listen to different perspectives and work tirelessly towards the common good. In 2020, during an unprecedented time of crisis, we as a community came together and showed what can be done when we put aside our differences and focus on what we share in common. It is time we end the political polarization that drives us apart, and as county supervisor, I'm dedicated to working with everyone to make meaningful changes in our community, and I look forward to uplifting the voices of the many in our community, especially those who have been historically excluded from our decision-making process. Today, for the first time in a 172-year history of the Santa Cruz County Board of Supervisors, I will become the first Black person and African American to serve. This is significant because African Americans have made major contributions to the history of this country and to this community. And yet we continue to struggle to overcome poverty and oppression and to have a voice in the decision-making process. And here in Santa Cruz County, African Americans have never held a seat on this governing board until now. It's significant because sadly we know in America you are treated differently based on the color of your skin. But when we include the voices and perspectives of oppressed people in the decision-making process and create more inclusive policies that help alleviate oppression, everyone benefits.
Yeah.
As county supervisor, I hope we can bring some of my lived experience to help us as we work together to create a more just, equitable, and diverse Santa Cruz County. More than just my lived experience being a Black person in this country, I bring my lived experience growing up on the south side of Chicago and living in many other parts of the world, including rural Illinois, the Basque Country of Spain, Panama, Miami, and Alaska. I bring my 4 years of experience as a Santa Cruz City Council member and former mayor during 2020 when we experienced the onset of COVID, social unrest after the murder of George Floyd, and the CZU fires. I bring my experience as a bilingual Spanish-speaking environmental scientist who has worked on a range of issues such as urban gardening, fisheries conservation, forest restoration, wildlife conservation, and climate change across the globe. I bring my experience as a diversity, equity, and inclusion nonprofit developer who's helped train many young people from underrepresented backgrounds to become leaders in the field of environmental conservation, and also having trained many young people from underrepresented backgrounds on the use and application of drones for good. But most importantly, Living in the second most expensive housing rental market in the country, I bring my experience as a former grad student and working class professional who's been a renter in this community for roughly 15 years and continues to face housing insecurity because of a housing market that is inaccessible to working class people. I know that I share many of my lived experiences with you. And those experiences that we don't have in common, I hope that you can share them with me so that I can understand your experience as we build for a better future. We're at a major inflection point in the history of our community. With the many challenges before us related to rebuilding from the CZU fires, improving infrastructure on the North Coast, combating climate change, increasing food security, expanding workforce training, increasing employee retention, reducing homelessness, expanding mental and behavioral health programs, reducing recidivism in our criminal justice system, holding UCSC accountable for its growth, and most importantly, building and securing affordable housing for the working class, we will need to work together to explore new ideas and ways of approaching these complex and challenging issues. It's not enough to say we care about diversity. It's not enough to say we care about our workers. It's not enough to say we have compassion for the homeless. It's not enough to say we need more affordable housing. We must do something about it, and it's going to come with some major sacrifices. And if we as a community can prevent the construction of a nuclear power plant along our coast and instead create a state park, if we can prevent offshore oil drilling in the Monterey Bay and create a world-renowned national marine sanctuary, and if we can preserve our greenbelt, which is one of our local treasures here in Santa Cruz, together we can create a more inclusive community that supports people from all walks of life. And so in closing, let's work on building our rail and trail. Let's work on protecting our environment. Let's work on helping people rebuild from the fires. Let's work on protecting tenants and alleviating homelessness. Let's work on uplifting people from poverty, protecting our essential workers, producing more affordable housing, and uplifting our middle class. And I look forward to working with you all. Thank you.
Panetta. So I believe you're in the 19th now.
You got it.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming. And Congressman Panetta will be swearing in Supervisor-elect Felipe Hernandez.
Well, yay.
Thank you, Clerk Weber, and good afternoon, everyone. Let me start off by first and foremost congratulating Supervisor Cummings. I will never, ever forget the first time that we met in this building, about 2 floors down in my office, in which we had a conversation. I will never forget the impression you had on me. You listened, you learned, and what I saw since then is that you have acted. And for that, I know that you will be an excellent supervisor and our community will benefit. Thank you. Former Supervisor Gary Patton, thank you for being the conscience of this community. We appreciate it. Family, friends, supporters, congratulations. Boy, are we proud today to have the swearing in of not just Justin, but of course, Felipe Hernandez. It is an absolute honor for me to be here to administer the oath of office for the 4th District Supervisor here in Santa Cruz County. One of the most impactful positions for the people of Santa Cruz County, one of the most important and meaningful positions for public servants. I say that not just because of the history of our supervisors here in this county. I say that, and I mean this, that every member of Congress that I serve with that has served as a supervisor always says that being a supervisor was the best position that they had. Now look, comparing it to Congress, I get it. But what they always say is that it was a job for them in which you not only get things done, you get things done in a way that actually affects people's lives. Now, I firmly believe that in order to do that job, you have to have foundational qualities. And I will never forget, it was about a decade ago, I was listening to two pillars of public service in our community, Senator John Laird and now Mayor Fred Keeley, talk about the qualities of being a public servant. And they got to ask the question, what is the most important quality a public servant can have? And without hesitation, both of them answered, it's judgment. It's having that judgment. Now, I firmly believe that that judgment comes from who you are and where you come from. Your life narrative gives the people you serve a stable sense of identity that will help you make those decisions. I was reading the New York Times today, and there was a quote by David Brooks, editorialist, that said basically, you can't know what you do unless you know what story you are a part of. Unless you know what story you are a part of. Now, fortunately for us, Felipe Hernandez knows his story. And the people of Santa Cruz County know his story. Being from a family of immigrants, Felipe understands the opportunities this community can provide for parents like his. He understands that sometimes getting those opportunities is not easy. He understands the struggles and the fights that are necessary at times for those opportunities, but that's also gave him the realization and the appreciation and the value for that opportunity and for ensuring that other people have the same opportunities. And let me tell you, Felipe's story has always been one of giving back to the people of this community, to the place that he has always called home. As I like to say, he is a local boy done good. A proud Watsonville High School Wildcat that when he graduated, he decided to enlist in the U.S. Army and give back to this country. He was deployed to the Middle East, where he earned a Bronze Star Medal.
Bravo. Yeah.
He could have had a lot of other places he could have gone to, but he came back home, where he attended Cabrillo College and then transferred to UCSC and graduated with a degree in community studies. And unlike many others, he actually used that degree as an activist, as an organizer, as a board member, as a city councilman, as a mayor, and most recently as a trustee for Cabrillo College. And now, as supervisor, Felipe Hernandez will continue to tell his story, will continue to use his judgment based on that story to make those tough decisions. For us, that is the story of Santa Cruz County. Felipe is the story, not just of this community, but of our country. And because Felipe will now become our supervisor, oh boy, that story is only going to get better. And so it is my honor to not just congratulate, to show my appreciation to Felipe Hernandez, but have the opportunity to swear him in as the 4th District Supervisor of Santa Cruz County. Raising your right hand, please repeat after me. I, Felipe Hernandez,
I, Felipe Hernandez,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
about which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
You know, before I start, I want to thank a special person that's here, my mother.
Yeah.
That really, helped out in the campaign. She just retired yesterday. For the second time. She did 32 years in the canneries. 35 years in the canneries and 22 years at this other place. Second retirement, funeral home, yes. So thank you. I'm gonna first of all, thank everyone that's here as well. I'm proud of all the support that I got from all the voters, supporters. We had a big, strong coalition, broad range of political support. And we kept a real positive campaign and really spoke about the issues that mattered to South County. And, we definitely worked hard in this campaign. We were the underdog coming after the primaries, and we worked really hard to make sure that we were on top in this campaign. And again, there's no one that worked harder in this campaign than my mother, Felipe Hernandez. She knocked on more doors than me and Luis and Harvey and all the young guys and young girls, or not more than anybody else. But that said, being a son of, my mom was a cannery worker during '85 and during all the strikes. And she was a union leader in those cannery strikes, and I looked up to her as a young fifth grader. I was probably 10 or 11. I always looked up to her as a woman, as a leader, but of course as my mother. And so I want to thank her for that. As a son, of a cannery worker, but also my grandparents would be proud of me. My grandparents on my dad's side were also cannery workers. My mom's side, they worked in the lettuce, the strawberry. So it's a unique background. Very Watsonville, though. Working in being a farm worker, the canneries. And I don't think it's ever been represented in these halls. Same with my father. He worked over 30 years in the apple industry from 1960 till 1992, I believe, for the same company, picking apples. But I'm here, and I got experiences as a veteran. And someone that's seen all the struggles that Watsonville has been through, that Watsonville has endured, from floods to earthquakes to the pandemic and the inequities over the years. And those are the things that I want to make sure that we address. It's going to be a privilege to serve my hometown in addressing the critical issues facing South County. We have affordable housing that's a big issue in Watsonville. There's a need, the other thing is a viable equitable transportation system, I was late today, stuck in traffic. So we need that rail trail. There's a lot of workers that commute from Watsonville to Santa Cruz, not just county employees, government workers, but people that work in the retail and the food and commercial businesses that are stuck in that traffic. A lot of the workers have talked to me when I was on the council about these issues. So those are some of the issues we have to address. Affordable housing, farm worker housing. There's a need for that in Watsonville. Make sure we have a quality community hospital. Making sure we got 100-year flood protection. We got someone in the room that was a vital part of that. Thank you, Jimmy. But again, that transportation infrastructure that really works for Pajaro Valley. We really need to address these issues. And I want to assure that I'm going to work hard for the county, but I really want to make sure that the county works for South County. That's what I want to make sure. I want to thank everyone that's here and everyone that made this possible. Every one of you here made this possible to see Supervisor Justin Cummings and me here today. So thank you. I want to thank the campaign team as well. Ramon Gomez, Celeste was part of the team, Maylene, Javier, Luis, of course, my mother. Just did an awesome campaign, and thank you. We couldn't have done it without you guys and all the supporters as well. Thank you.
Cummings also joined. I'd like to introduce to you all now duly sworn in Supervisors Cummings and Hernandez. And I'd like to recognize your fellow supervisors, even though one of them is walking away. I can see that far. I can't see further than that, but I can see that far. So 1st District Supervisor Conant, 2nd District Supervisor Friend, and 5th District Supervisor McPherson. So I'm going to let you guys get to it. I want to thank you all very much for coming to this moment. It was very, very fun and meaningful, and I tried really hard not to cry, so I'm going to go in the back corner and rewind my chair and say welcome again, and thank you, everyone. Have a happy day.
Sir, that was nice. Big picture?